child rape, beheadings. This is all part of Islam. I do not come on the air. I would not be allowed on the air to attack Islam. This radio station is licensed by the FCC. I would not be allowed to come on and express hate comments about a religion. I am not hating anything. I am explaining what Islam is. That is all that I'm doing. Everything I say here is fact-based. But Obama wants to launch a campaign from the White House with your dollars and explain to the world. He says there are some individuals that are using a peaceful religion and grossly distorting it, trying to use its tenets to inspire people around the globe to carry out acts of violence. And we have enjoyed significant success in enlisting leaders in the Muslim community, like I said, both in the United States and the world, to condemn this kind of messaging, to condemn these efforts and to radicalize individuals, and to be clear about what the tenets of Islam really are. And we're going to redouble those efforts in the days and weeks ahead. What a crock of crap. The people that are beheading people, the people that are raping babies, they are following the tenets of Islam. This is all acceptable behavior, as is cutting off your child's hands if he steals a cookie. Stoning your daughter to death if she kisses the boy or holds a boy's hand in public. That's acceptable behavior in Islam. Those are the tenets of Islam. Those are the tenets of Islam. Don't buy a single word about Islam that you hear coming out of the White House, because the Muslim in charge is going to be feeding you a line of crap. ISIS, the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria, they are beheading people. They are giving the wives and the children of the beheaded people to their soldiers as trophies. ISIS, Islamic State, that is Islam. They are following Islam religiously, pun intended. Folks, I know we've had a couple of breaks as we have our technical issues, but this is time for a station break. Please stick with us. We'll be right back.
The most diversified radio station on the dial, AM 1050 KCAA.
Tom O'Halloran, holding the line against tyranny from Washington, D.C.
I am America, one voice, united we stand. I am America, one hope to heal our land. There is still work that must be done. I will not rest until we won. I am
Welcome back. This is Jihad-On-America, and I'm your host, Tom O'Halloran. In Kansas this week, a jihad and martyrdom preaching sheik speaks at an Overland Park event. Now, this is insane. I know this is the United States of America. I get that we have the First Amendment and all that other stuff that goes with it, but this is insane. Kansas is home to a large and rapidly growing Muslim population, a very pro-Sharia and pro-Hamas Muslim population. Earlier this week, a Muslim from the Muslim Brotherhood group and United Arab Emirates designated terrorist group, the Muslim American Society, Mohammed al-Bawadi, hosted a radical sheikh who preaches about the glories of jihad and martyrdom. And he's speaking at events in America. They are spreading this hate. They're spreading this evil throughout the mosques all through America. The sheikh starts telling a story. He says, I went to congratulate a woman who had 3 children killed, sons who are martyrs, and 2 children of her daughter. I said to her that I have not come to give you commiserations, but I have come to congratulate you. The woman smiled and laughed and said, my children are in paradise. He says, yes, God willing. So rejoice in the trade that you have entered into, he says, with Allah. Allah has brought from the believers their wealth and their lives in exchange for paradise. They fight in the path of Allah. They kill and are killed. This is the promise of Allah. In truth, in the Torah, the Injil, and the Quran. Who is more faithful in his pact than Allah? Singing the praises of a woman who allows her babies to strap bombs on their chests and kill other people. Similar jihadi preachers are speaking this week in Garland, Texas, Cottage Grove, Minnesota, and there are likely several more towns. Why are such promoters of jihad permitted here? Why are the mosques allowed to hold this kind of incitement in our country? And it is happening all the time. The mosques in America are the breeding grounds for Islamic hatred. They are the breeding grounds for the Islamic attacks on the homeland that we will be seeing in the next year, in the next 3 years, the next 5 years. How many attacks will it take on the homeland before we shut down every mosque? Before we rid this country of every Muslim? There's an invasion that is advancing at horrific speeds. Since 9/11, the number of mosques in this country have grown by 75%. And the timing of this is no coincidence. Mosques are a symbol of Islamic supremacism, Islamic attacks. Then it plants a triumphant mosque on the battlefield, and then another, and another, and another. This is nothing new. We've seen it all around the world. We've seen it for 1,400 years. The proliferation of mosques is a sign of our incomprehensible response, or lack thereof, to the threat of Islam. Carol Brown did a column this week, does a great job of explaining it. She says if we don't put an end to this madness, we will ensure the continued assault against us, an assault that ultimately will spare no one. They pose a dual risk to Americans. First, there's the... Pardon? Oh, I've got a caller. We'll finish this in just a minute, folks. We have a caller online. Hello, caller.
Hey, Tom, it's Matt, Roger's co-host. How are you doing?
Hey, brother. Doing well. Yourself?
I'm good. Go ahead and finish your thought if you'd like to. I'd like to hear the end of it.
Okay. I'll finish this up, and then we can chat about you're coming through rather garbled. I'm not sure what the story is because I'm listening to my producer very clearly. Perhaps while I finish this, you could try a reconnect. Okay, Matt?
All righty.
So she says, here we are with at least 1,700 mosques that promote jihad, and the vast majority of Muslims attending such mosques, and millions upon millions of dollars are flowing in from Saudi Arabia. They generally claim that the money for these mosques is going to be raised within the community, but oftentimes a multi-million-dollar mosque goes up with only 200 or 300 Muslims in the community. The mosques are not just churches. We see a church go up and it's a house of worship. To fully appreciate the danger of the mosques, one should also heed the words of Turkish poet Ziya Golip. The minarets are our bayonets, the domes are helmets, the mosques are barracks, and the faithful our army. Now, the Prophet Muhammad's first project was to construct a mosque in his city, in Medina, which served as his residence and a government headquarters of sorts. He turned the mosque into a center for preaching, where a Muslim army was prepared for wars and raids on the enemies. Commonly held view by Muslims is that a mosque is more than a place of worship. It can have military and political uses. Here's a snapshot of places and situations where mosques have been used as military outposts. in Lebanon and Afghanistan and areas where the Palestinian Authority has control. Hezbollah and Hamas routinely use mosques for military operations, for hiding weapons. In Iraq, the U.S. military forces discovered munitions stored in mosques and had intense battles against terrorists using mosques for military purposes. Mosques are often routinely used for military operations in places where Islamic terror organizations wield political and or military might. In addition, they have been used for military purposes in Great Britain, Italy, Germany, and Spain. So what's happening in the mosques in your neighborhoods? It turns out a survey revealed that 85% of mosques in the United States are preaching violent jihad, hatred of non-believers, hatred of Jews, both in speech and in literature handed out. 85% of the mosques are teaching this stuff, are radicalizing the youths. When are we going to stop letting the enemy build its forts within our homeland? It has to be now. Matt, did you get back online, brother?
I'm here now. Can you hear me a little better?
I can hear you a little bit, brother. Go ahead and talk. If you've got something to say to the audience, I know you and trust you well enough to let you have the mic, okay? My comprehension is going to be a little sketchy, but let's try it.
Well, I think that one thing that you're hitting it perfectly. One problem is a lot of people don't understand that these mosques and that these ideals actually are occurring in their neighborhoods here in America, in their homeland. They don't understand that. They don't get it. They don't understand that evil exists in the form of Islam in their neighborhoods, and it does. There are mosques. You need to look around if you're an American citizen. You need to check your cities and see as far as your churches go. See what's around. There is radical Islam, and I'm sorry. Let me change that. Radical Islam, and Tom, I'm sure that you would back me up on this. Radical Islam are the actual people that don't follow the original teachings of Islam that happen to be Islamic. There are texts that people seem to just try to not understand that, back 200-300 years ago, these texts that were being taught are forgotten now. For instance, I know a lot of people who are Islamic, and they follow texts that have been printed in the last, I don't know, say 10, 15 years. And it's funny how there's a lot of information being lost from these texts. If you talk to people who own texts of the Quran of 200 years ago, you see these texts that show the true teachings of Islam. Those are the true Islamists. The radical Islamists are the people that don't understand the true teaching from the beginning. So what we find is especially here in America with Barack Obama being our president, what we are finding here in America is that nobody understands what the true teachings of Islam is, which is obvious confusion, correct? Tom, are you with me?
Yeah, I'm with you. You were fading in and out. I heard you real clear for a while and then a little bit not so much. But
well, basically what I'm getting at, Tom, and I'll try to make it quick so that you can hear me. I'm not sure what's going on with this phone line, is that what people consider Islamic extremism is not Islamic extremism. Today, Islamic extremism is the people that are peaceful Muslims. And unfortunately, the peaceful Muslims are in the vast minority. Not the majority, the vast minority. Would you not agree with that statement?
Well, in a sense, you're right. Can you hold over? We've got one more break, but I'd love to finish this thought with you.
Absolutely. Go ahead.
Okay. We'll be right back, folks. Stick around.